Alright, this is the next episode. My previous episode is rendering right now, and I kind of felt happy ending it right after 27 minutes or so. My chair is a little bit squeaky. Please forgive the chair. It's kind of old. Anyway, my previous episode, it's rendering right now, and so I want to jump into the next one, but I didn't do it immediately. I stood up, I drank some water, I stretched just a little bit, and I felt good. I felt kind of good about it, despite it. I know for a fact it's probably going to be a really bad episode, and hopefully it's the worst episode. And for an episode 0, it was kind of a nothing burger. And this episode is probably going to be another nothing burger, another nothing sandwich. Or maybe this is the nothing sandwich, and episode 0 is the nothing French fries. I don't know. Rambling a little bit. So, I'm gonna talk a little bit more about myself because no one really asked, but I just kind of want to talk, which is, I guess, gonna be the theme of this episode. I don't know if it's the theme of the podcast, but I really want to talk right now. So, I don't even really know where to begin. So I'll just go from the earliest as I can and then skip over a bunch of chunks of my life to where I am now. I was a guy that was born of a twin sister. Broke my arm on the way out. Everyone made fun of my sister relentlessly because, like, she wanted to get out first, or she took all the nutrients, and she pushed me on her way out and broke my arm because she had to be first. A bunch of funny ha-has, but I never really asked her if she was how she felt about all of that. I just kind of was, haha, funny. But yeah, after that, some time had passed. My mother and father split. I never really talk about that. And then my mother couldn't keep me and my twin sister around. I had an older sister as well as an older brother, and they stayed with my biological parents, whereas me and my twin sister went off to my mother's cousins, and they are a lesbian couple. I don't want to tell you their names, but they're cool. That's kind of a sucky way to put it, but yeah, they're cool. They're very religious. I moved to Hawaii and went to a very religious, setting. Me and my twin sister, and then we came here to Vegas, and then we went through a slightly less religious setting, and then back again. It's hard to put into words trying to avoid direct names of certain things, but that's how it went. I had a very, very religious upbringing. I can say without any stumbling about or mumbling about. I had a very religious upbringing that thankfully they did not care for that I played Pokemon and I liked Dungeons and Dragons and Legend of Zelda. In fact, my parents, well, I say parents, but what I mean is my guardians. I will be using mothers and parents very loosely because I just do that. But yeah, my parents' guardians, they liked Legend of Zelda. They liked the NES and the SNES. my mom really liked it, and so I've always had it. We also had a lot of Japanese things around, like anime. I remember when I was younger watching Sailor Moon, the Pioneer dub, watching a ton of anime that was in Japanese without subtitles, and sometimes there was hard subtitles. If any of you are old enough to know what those hard subs looked like, they were the yellow with like the black, like thick border. Sometimes they were thick, sometimes they were thin, and you just had to live with it. And because that was anime. But yeah, I had access to a lot of anime. My parents liked anime. They liked video games, and for many of my peers, friends, they did not have parents that liked those things, as the religious upbringing went, and their religious parents didn't like it. But, I was Mr. Cool. My sisters were Mrs. Cool. That kind of sounded weird. But anyway, yeah. Eventually, I got to meet my older brother and my older sister. I was still young, so I guess I kind of knew them. And I always liked seeing them because they lived a very different life. Me and my twin sister had a very fortunate life, and I don't want to say that my older brother and older sister had a unfortunate life, but it was very different because, it was just very different, okay? They had to struggle a little bit with some things, but for the most part, I don't know. I don't want to sound like they lived a lesser life, but me and my twin sister had a lot of opportunities throughout our lives that even now we have a ton of opportunities. It's not available for them. They had a very different upbringing. And I never really thought of it as two families until I was like a teenager, where it was very apparent that it was very much two families, and I had to pick between those two families, and I never did, really. And I guess that was my version of a rebellious phase, is thinking that we were all one family. But different households. I never ever saw my father. We never talked about him, really. Going back to when I was younger, going into elementary school, very few anime friends. That was the main time that anime was not cool. The Japanese media and stuff was not cool. And liking Naruto and One Piece was not cool. But I stuck with it. I always, despite getting, a little bit bullied here and there. That was the main time of my life with the bullying, was elementary school. And it was a very short time, and a lot of it I don't remember, so none of it really stuck with me to really dig under my skin. Nor do I even associate with anybody from elementary school. Even the cousins that I used to go to elementary school with, I don't really talk to very often, if ever. But I had some friends, but what I really remember was that it was just, anime was not cool. Despite it, elementary school, I was but a tiny babby. I was tiny Pogo. I'll call myself Pogo because I'm assuming the people listening to this know me as Pogo. Ooh, my other video just finished rendering. Nice. Anyway, then I went to middle school. ton of people liked anime. Then I was like, ooh, neat. And then there was a lot of, it's mostly girls that liked anime, liking series that I kind of didn't really care for, despite me really liking Naruto and Sailor Moon, and they liked it too, but they were more into like I guess reverse harems and sports animes and other stuff, but yeah, it's whatever. But they were bullied more than I was, and it had to do with I went to school with my twin sister as well as my older sister. My older sister at the time was a rambunctious girl. She was a tomboy, someone who would pick fights, grab a stick off the ground, and beat somebody with it. She was known in elementary school for throwing a Gatorade bottle at a rich guy, and that made her kind of notorious. And a lot of those kids that knew went to the same middle school, and knew her for that. And me by association, like, oh, that's her younger brother, don't mess with him, kind of deal. And I know that sounds pretty anime, and it sounds like some sort of like cliche in some series, but that's just what happened. And I still think of it fondly, about my memories of hearing people discuss my older sisters in that kind of light, as well as hearing from my older sister what they think of me because of her exploits, and their exploits, I mean. Yeah, so I had a pretty good middle school going through, made a lot of friends. But I wanted my friends to not get bullied. I didn't like that they were the targets. And it was a different time than now. They got trash canned, which it is exactly how it sounds, where they got a trash can flipped over, like a really big one, and thrown on top of them. So they were inside of the trash can. They got binder checked, where they would hit their binders, and their stuff would fall over the ground. They would get the back of their knees kicked and things like that. I didn't like it. It was not cool. My older sister also thought it was not that cool, and my twin sister thought it was not cool. My older sister went on to high school. Then it was just me and my twin sister, and I thought to myself, well, I need to do something where we all get together, because my older sister's gone. I'm not going to have the protection of her, and I don't like thinking, subconsciously, I guess, it was me thinking, hey, I don't have her protecting me, like, by her name. Like, people know who she is, in my grade, so, like, I don't know if they're going to change their mind, and they're going to start bullying me now. But I've always had an idea of making an anime club, and I did. I made the greatest anime club in the world. But a little before that, I didn't like how they got bullied. And I asked, there was a Japanese club. Oh wait, no, that was in high school. All the nerds, I guess, we all went to, I guess, video game club, but not all the nerds, only some of them. And I decided, hey, I'm gonna make an anime club. There's this teacher that I won't name. He discussed how he liked anime. Then some kids made a Facebook ridiculing that teacher, and well, that came later, and I didn't like that. I wasn't the one to report that. Some other kid in the anime club did, But anyway, he liked anime. A lot of kids kind of spoke ill about him behind his back, and I thought he was cool. So I acted cool around him, and I asked him, "Hey, do you want to become the anime club teacher?" And that person that looked over the club, and he was like, "Yeah, that sounds great." And then I became, what the people in the club called El Presidente. As El Presidente, I made sure nobody got bullied. I made sure that we all stuck together because bullies can't prevail or whatever. The club was great. We had anime movie days. We had Pokemon days. I made sure that everyone who had a subject or something that they liked about the community had their day. We had a cosplay day. We had a voicing over anime day. That was a really fun one. The Pokemon day, like I said before. AMVs. If anyone was interested in making content or being a content creator, I made sure to just try my best to enable them, try to push them to continuing on and keep making more things, getting their name out more. If they wanted to do voice acting, I kept pushing them to make more audio stuff. And if they needed a microphone or something, I'd try to get a microphone for them. If they needed to borrow a program of some sort, I would kind of help them. I mean, our school had an audio program that I was like, hey, just use this, it's good enough. And it had Movie Maker, which was good enough at the time. And old school Movie Maker was pretty cool. They would just do the audio, and then I would go home and cut it up. And I also really liked making AMVs. And I didn't like the sound of my voice back then, so I didn't really do any audio stuff, but I helped out my friends that wanted to. And the anime club was great until the ending, where I never, which was my fault really, I never really set up a way to get the next president to carry on the anime club. I did it to vote, and then one girl brought in cookies, and the other people were like, hey, that's cheating, you're bribing everyone. And then I really wanted to be hands off with it as much as I could, because I had an idea in my head about being hands off with the direction of whatever the new club president was going to do. I wanted them to do it. Then I left, found out a year later that the club fell apart, and I felt a little bit bad, but whatever. But immediately I wanted to make an anime club in high school. And I did. And it was really, really good. I had more ideas of how I was going to make the anime club. I've seen other anime clubs and how they run, and I didn't like how they would their anime club is watch an anime, watch it all the way through. And I thought to myself, well, that's stupid, because if someone misses the first day or they miss something, then they're screwed out of that anime. So what I would do was I know it was kind of bad, but yeah, I would torrent a ton of anime, just a ton of anime, and only the first 3 episodes or so, because I would never continuously run an anime. I would always do the first 1 or 2 episodes, maybe 3rd episode, if people were interested, and then we would jump to another series. Anime Club usually ran for 3 hours. The first bit would be I'd hand out, I looked online for manga panels, and I'd print out a bunch of papers with different manga panels, and I'd be like, all right, everybody, let's make a manga. Or I'd give everyone a paper and be like, everybody draw this and that. And just a little bit kind of a warm-up. I don't know, I don't really know exactly what I had in mind at the time, but everyone seemed to really like to draw their own thing. And then about an hour to 2 hours, it would be just anime. And then at the end, I always made sure for discussion. I was very, very, very tight on having a discussion about anime. It was important to me. At that time, I was very frequent in online forums as well as image boards about anime discussion. I really, really wanted to hear others' perspective on the current season, the direction of anime, the certain older titles that don't get really spoken about to be spoken about, and to like recommendations and stuff like that. I have a ton of anime recommendations when I was a wee little pogo, and I want people to know about it. I want them to watch those things. And so that anime club was really good, and it was a really good thing. A lot of times I would say I peaked in high school. That was my big. And then from high school, like I also did, I had orchestra, I did concerts, a bunch of things like that. Near the ending of high school, I was in a lot of clubs. I had the idea that if I was in a ton of clubs, I would get accepted to any college and I will be able to do anything. So I joined a ton of clubs. I was the president of 2 clubs, the anime club as well as the trading card game club. The TCG club was a very interesting club because I immediately became president. The current president was never there, and it was some girl who basically inspired me to with the way I live my entire high school life. She was an inspiration to me, and yet I've never seen her face. I had only heard of her magnificent exploits of starting a ton of clubs and then just getting accepted, and it was some Ivy League college, and I thought, ooh, wow, I can do that too. And so I started anime club because in middle school I started the other anime club, and I wanted to make another anime club, and I continued being the TCG club's president because I did not want to see that club die. I was very into playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic the Gathering with my friends after school every single day. And I mean that, like pretty much every single day after school, we would all meet in the science room to play Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh!, sometimes Pokemon, a new TCG. I don't know. It was a great time of just every day was a good day. And occasional bad day, but I was a pretty smart cookie, I would say. I wish I was in AP classes. If I applied myself, I would have been in it, but I was an honors student. Almost all of my classes were honors classes. And I was I wouldn't say AB. I had a C, I think, in English. And I had an A in Japanese, and that's crazy that there's a lot of schools that don't teach Japanese. They just have Spanish. But anyway, my school had a ton of languages. We had French, Spanish, Japanese. I think we had a Chinese for just 1 year during my sophomore year, and then the teacher left. We have French. I think I already said that. I don't remember. I think we had a German class as well, but that was introduced in my sophomore year as well, and then it went into high school, my senior year, and I don't really remember because I wasn't a part of that. But anyway, it was a good time. And then right after that, I guess during the ending of high school, like I guess my onlineness was kind of peaking where I had tons of different accounts, tons of different names. I did not know exactly who I wanted to be, but I had this I don't know, this edgy idea in my brain where I wanted to be a lot of things. I wanted to be a lot of people, a deceiver of some sort, the man with a million masks, and yeah, it was cringy. I'm still cringing to this day because a lot of people know me as a bunch of different names, and then when I try to bring two sets of people together, they both call me two different things, and I cringe because then they both get confused about my name. Anyway, oh, I don't know. I'm kind of fine with Pogo now. And oh yeah, it was during this time I think it was around this time, might have been a little bit before it. My Little Pony, the whole brony phase. Yeah, do you guys know about the brony phase? It took the internet by storm. Yeah, I was a part of that. I was part of that cringe. And yeah, I was very, very much into it. So much, like I said before, I don't know. No, I never said it before. I wrote My Little Pony fan fiction. But hey, before you start judging, I wrote Naruto and Harry Potter and Nightmare Before Christmas and Kingdom Hearts fan fiction, as well as other cringy things. But yeah, I really got invested in one community on 4chan, and my name was also kind of fluctuating, but I stuck with Pony Gun, and then it went to Pony Gone, and then I used a bunch of other names, but it was mostly Pony Gone, and then it was Pogo because it was just faster to say, I guess. And that online friend group, I think I'm the most friendly with. I talk to them the most out of all of my online friends. And if you're an online friend watching or listening to this and you know me as another name, it's not that you're lesser of a friend, it's just I either knew them longer or I talked with them more frequently. So sorry. Pogo, I don't know. It's just a name to me. I don't have a very strong attachment. Like tomorrow, if people just started calling me Nif, I would be fine. Or LGG, or one of my other names. Then I went to college. My college experience was a lot like other people's college experience, where I was testing the waters for many different things. Politically active. In high school I was also politically active with the Democrats and Republican clubs, the two different clubs, and I was a part of both of them, and I wanted to join as many clubs as I could. I was also in the LGBT Alliance Club in high school. So being in like a bunch of different political, I think those were the three main political clubs I was in. I don't remember their exact names. I think it was like Republicans of Tomorrow and Young Democrats. It's probably or the other way around. Because the idea of joining as many clubs as I can and making sure I'm in the pictures of every single one of them. In high school, I decided to go to those debates. There's like an outside area, or college. College. There was like outside debates where students would debate outside, and it got violent, and then it looked more like a weird mini riot, and I kind of liked it, but I really didn't at the same time because I thought this is very archaic means of politics. Because I don't know, just people yelling at each other, and occasionally sometimes fists were thrown. It really is like ancient Greek politics. to some extent, that was pretty based. But on the other hand, just a bunch of college students screaming at each other. I don't know. I don't think that was it, Chief. I even mentioned this in one of my political study classes, and the professor, he wasn't really a liberal in that course, which was very different from pretty much all of the other political teachers. He was pretty cool, and he was telling me about how he didn't like the means of how many of my peers would discuss politics. I'm trying to dance around what I actually am trying to say is he didn't like all the violence. It was pretty stupid. But I tried my best using big boy words and articulate language. Anyway, it was dumb. I tried. I don't want to say, because I didn't have sex, but I tried things sexually, and I had a couple of GFs, one of which is kind of led me down the I want to be alone forever path. She was a very controlling woman. She was very much older than I was, and she wanted to try things I was not comfortable with. And that really made me not want to be intimate with people ever. So that's kind of how I got that, and I'll probably never bring it up again. But during college, I also, I was dorming, and that's how dorming be. I've had roommates I walked in on doing it, some straight, and plenty of roommates who were gay, and I walked in on them, and it was really awkward. But I had some really cool suite mates. I don't know if any of them would be listening to this. But, yeah, like I had one suite mate who I'd play Yu-Gi-Oh! With, and he really liked Pokemon, so we would play Pokemon sometimes. I'd play Pokemon Go, specifically. There was a small community of us just walking around campus, and that was really cool. It was an anime club. I didn't like the anime club back in my university because it did everything that I didn't want an anime club to do. I was planning on taking it over, but it just wasn't in me to do so. I went into college for computer engineering, and the engineering courses was kind of hard. It was a little hard. I got A's in those courses, but the calculus courses, Calculus 2, oh god. Oh man, I don't think it was Calculus 2. It was Calculus something, and it broke me as a man. I took the course like 3 times, failed each one, and I couldn't just keep failing it, and I asked an advisor what I should do, and I decided, hey, I can't keep doing this. I can't keep doing college life anymore. I want out. And then they were like, all right, do you want to be a geologist? And I was like, oh, that sounds kind of fun. And they were like, all right, you're going to have to go this many years. And I was like, ooh, is there really no way for me to just graduate now-ish? And she was like, do you really just want to graduate now? You only really need like one course of a liberal arts or a history thing. Here, take this history course, and you could be a historian. You can be a librarian. You'll be getting a U.S. history degree. And I'm like, yep, I want out right now. I want to graduate already. I want out. I want to enter the real world. get me out of here. And she was like, all right, you just have to take this course, as well as this one, and you will get a degree, and you can get out of college. Because I was very close of just dropping out of my university, because it was draining. The lifestyle, everything about it, everything was very, very draining. And I lived on campus, so I constantly seeked help, the different tutors, because that are on campus, and I was constantly getting tutored. I was constantly taking other things, not like taking things like drugs and stuff. I mean, Adderall, but also some weed, because that was legal. That's legal here in Vegas. But it's hard to put into words. It was just a lot of things happening in college. I think that's kind of what everyone else's experience is, because I have 1,000,001 stories about college, but I can't really put it all into one podcast. So I'll just leave it at that. College was cool and all. I would probably say it was a 7 out of 10. Would not recommend to other people, but it was a good time. And then when I graduated, what did I do after college? Right after college, I was, because during college I was a sign spinner, and then I went to decided I needed to work. I needed a real job, not sign spinning. I got a job at teaching at a private school. You might think I'd be paid a lot. I was not paid a lot. You might think because I was not paid a lot, I didn't have that much work to do. I was not a full-time employee. I had more things to do than the average schmuck. I was the art teacher. I was the music teacher. I was the physical education teacher. I assisted other teachers as well. I ran the school lunches. I ran the minor kids, the toddlers, and the after school program when their parents had to pick, they were working, and I had to look after them until late into the night, because the parents just wouldn't pick them up. It's aggravating to think about, but it taught me a lot about how the real world works, and taxes, and how awful little kids are, and how much I want to be a quote-unquote real teacher. And I got a teaching thing, a substitute. Did not go through with it, because I really looked into it, and I did not get paid very much, and will not be paid very much. So, I got a job immediately after that. After I got fed up, I applied to Amazon. I kept working as a teacher for maybe 5 or 6 months, and then Amazon was like, "Hey, work for us. We'll actually pay you double what you made before." So I worked at Amazon. I had an alright time at Amazon. It was physically exhausting, but not mentally draining. I liked looking at the cool things. I liked being called an Amazon drone, and how Amazon is going to install nano machines into my body to make me work more efficiently, cut off my legs so I can stand all day. Those kind of memes. Those were fun times. I also like doing 410s, because, oh dear God, 410s is the greatest. I also like looking at my phone. I could see how much how much money I was making immediately, and it was cool. I also got a job, a part-time job working at an airsoft, right before Amazon, the in-between. Sorry for jumping back, but yeah, I got an airsoft job at an airsoft range, and it was cool. But then after Amazon, I guess the major jobs I had was teaching, Amazon, and now I work as a a transportation security officer. Very different. Very, very different. Ton of work. It's more mentally exhausting than it is physically exhausting, but it pays really good, and that's just what I do. But it is not 410s, and I have no time to do the things that I really like to do, like anime and play video games. I don't have the time anymore, so I have to be very selective. I can't watch every single title in every season anymore. I have to pick either the isekai, the slice of life, or the Moe Moe Magical Girl series of every season. And on my time off, I just play League. I watch VTubers. I know it's all temporary, and I should probably do something more productive. And I think that this podcast will be that productive thing for a good while. Just me talking. And yeah, oh jeez, 41 minutes of talking? Holy moly, do I really have that much to say about myself? Ew. I have no idea who's going to be watching this, but I apologize for all the rambling, the I say, and all the pauses I have between everything that I say. It's a bad habit, and I don't have the skills to develop some sort of speaking meme where I can just continue talking. I don't even really know what that's called, where I can just speak and not know what I am saying, but just keep speaking despite it being on like the same track or the same thought. But yeah, this anime, this podcast, I feel like it's gonna be my new meme, my new thing that I do. It's gonna be the thing I do. It's the thing. I don't know what it's called. I still don't know what this podcast is going to be called, but I'm going to just stick with it. I don't know if this is episode 1 or a continuation of episode 0, but I guess I'll ask my friends to see what I'll do. I kind of want to just talk about anime, maybe some video games. Just from back in middle school, I really like, and high school, the discussion part. The last bit of the anime club was just discussing what animes I'm watching, the things I've seen, etc., etc. And bring that back into my life, because I really like that. And that was not included in the anime club that I was in college, as well as I guess what I talk about these days, because when I'm with my friends, I barely talk about anime, just kind of meme about. Well, I think that's going to be the end of this episode, and how, I guess, me talking about it really puts my brain into thinking about how I want to do this podcast, because I was unsure at the start. I was very unsure at episode 0, and I don't know if this is episode 1, but if it is, I think it's a good way for me to say, hey, this is going to be a podcast about anime and video games, and me discussing about those things, because I really like those things, and I rarely get to discuss about it. Okay, bye.